This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
Fan.
The season can't end like that. 6 seconds left. The Warriors will not foul. That is going to do it. The horn sounds here at Target Center, and the Wolves have captured Game 5, 121-110. After closing out the Lakers in 5 games, the Wolves do the exact same to the Golden State Warriors. And for the second straight season, Minnesota is headed to the Western Conference Finals.
Alan Horton at Wolves Radio via Twitter, voxing his second Western Conference Finals. And back to OKC we go, 7:30 tonight, KFAN. Alan Horton and Jim Peterson. And the Vox joins us now. What does one do for fun in Oklahoma City, Alan Horton? And good morning.
Good morning, PA. I don't know what one does for fun. I think when you come to OKC, you just bear down, you get the computer open, you get some work done, you get a little bit of food to keep the fuel going, and then you maybe get a workout in, and then you can pretty much keep it to just business, and then you don't really have to worry about trying to find something to do in this town. We did run into some weather issues yesterday. You know, this time of year coming to OKC is a little bit different than January or February. Nice tornado warnings in the outskirts of Oklahoma City, so that was fun to kind of avoid that whole situation. And now we're over here at Shoot Around at Paycom Center, ready to go. And they're trying to emulate the whiteout at Target Center. They got white T-shirts here, PA. I think they're a little jealous.
What are their fans like, Alan? Can they be Eagles fan mean?
No, I would not put them in that category. They are definitely loud. They've been loud ever since they got their franchise in 2008-9, somewhere in there. But it's generally the people from here are used to college sports. They're used to college football, college basketball, high school level stuff, and they've brought a very similar type college atmosphere to the NBA, and it makes it one of the great environments in the league because they get into it. But I wouldn't say they cross the line and get into nasty stuff. They're respectful, but they're loud cheering for their team.
That's terrific. Alan, these guys, these two teams, they play each other very, very well. Anything stick out from the regular season games that has you thinking about into this evening's call?
The only thing I take from the 4 regular season meetings in which the two teams went 2-2, excuse me, there was Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo only played one of the 4 games. So really, from a Wolves perspective, they didn't have their full boat going into any of those games. And likewise, Oklahoma City. I mean, Chet played in 2 of those games. Cason Wallace played in 3. It's just there's not a lot you can glean from those 4. But in the first meeting, it was here in Oklahoma City in December 31st, so it was New Year's Eve. And the Wolves got a taste of what makes OKC so dangerous, in my opinion. When they start forcing turnovers, when they ramp things up defensively, it was the third quarter here, and the Wolves were playing well. They had a double-digit lead, and all of a sudden, in a 7.5-minute span, the Wolves went from up double figures to down double figures. I mean, just like that. And they turned it over a ton in that third quarter, and every single one of those seemed to be a live ball turnover that OKC just ran right down your throat. That's how quickly they can strike, and that's why I think that's the biggest key in this series is can the Wolves take care of the basketball and cut off a lot of that fuel for their offense, momentum, especially in this building. The crowd goes crazy when they got on one of their runs. The Wolves have to find a way to take better care of the basketball. And that's easier said than done because they put a ton of pressure on you. They force you into difficult situations. You want to drive to the bucket? Well, we're going to surround you with 4 players, and when you try to pass out of that or take a shot, we'll either block it with Chet or we'll be so handsy that pass gets deflected and is turned over. You just got to put a premium on making the right decisions when you've got the ball.
Alan, I'm really glad that you were focused in on that defense of Oklahoma City. Best in the NBA, really, from start to finish, wire to wire with that group this year. And I'm looking at Ant. If you just look at his stats, Alan, you know this, the numbers look right for Anthony Edwards, but it feels like there's been some slow starts at times throughout this playoffs. And I remember a year ago, part of the conversation was, Ant learning to work his way through double teams, reading some quotes from earlier in the year talking about, I got to figure it out. Ultimately, it's not how I want to play, but I got to deal with this. And you look at the way that Lou Dort has operated. They got a number of defenders, but Lou Dort specifically on Ant, he's been a force this year. What have you seen from him maybe working his way through some of what Golden State and the Lakers threw at Anthony, ultimately finding his way on the right side of things at the finish line?
Well, I asked Chris Finch about that because that was something that stood out in these first two series is Ant's numbers first half versus second half. He's been much more dominant, looked for his shot more after halftime. And the answer kind of was, that he's been letting the game come to him. It's not so much that he's trying to figure it out so much as it is just sort of letting the game come to him, kind of reading what the defenses are doing, getting other guys involved. That's meant Julius Randle for big first halves, and then Ant has put a stamp on the game in the second half. I think of that third quarter of Game 4 against Golden State when at one point I think he had 22 of the Wolves' 30 points in a stretch going from that second quarter to third quarter and really put the game away. That's going to be more difficult to do against guys like you mentioned, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace. These two guys are going to see a lot of Anthony Edwards. And they've just got good defenders all over the floor. They go to their bench. They bring in an Andrew Wiggins and Isaiah Joe. The other Jalen Williams comes off the bench. He's a good defender if they go to him. The starting Jalen Williams is a great defender as well. They've got good defense all over the place. And it's also going to be interesting to see. They foul a ton. They are very handsy. They reach in a lot. It creates a lot of turnovers, but it also creates a lot of fouls. And there's that fine line between, are they fouling and getting away with causing turnovers, or is there the whistle that's gonna limit them defensively? And that's something you always have to worry about, even in the 4 meetings in the regular season. That was a talking point going into the game. Where would the whistle be? Would it be tight? Would it favor Oklahoma City? Because if you let them get away with all that, it can be a long, long night.
Alan, what's your protocol as a Vox? I don't know how often it happens, but you got both Jalen Williams on the court. How are you going to deal with this when you're selling the story in the iHeartRadio app tonight, Alan?
We blame Sam Presti, really, the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder, for drafting two Jalen Williams and then keeping them both and then playing them both. So in OKC, they refer to the starter Jalen Williams from Santa Clara as J-Dub, and the other one is J-Will coming off the bench.
Yep.
He's the guy from Arkansas, I think Arkansas, off the top of my head. Anyway, and it's really problematic when they're both on the floor at the same time. Hopefully that doesn't happen too much. It's just too much Jalen Williams all at once.
Yes.
And then they've got a Kenrich Williams, too, so you can't just go last name. I mean, if God forbid, if all three of those guys play at the same time, it's 3/5 of their lineup is just Williams is running around on the floor.
Hey, I'm really glad we were able to help you talk through that at 10:15 in the morning because at 7:30 tonight you got a big one, brother, and the therapeutic Davenport of love is here for you. It's Alan Horton at Wolves Radio. Jalen Clark started 3 of the games this season versus the Thunder, and I recall him doing a pretty good job against SGA. And he started because of injuries to Rudy and Randall and Dante DiVincenzo. So is this a series he or maybe Terrence Shannon Jr. gets some run, or is that too much of a stretch?
Yeah, it's a great question because it's as good as things have gone for the Wolves. I know Wolves fans have kind of been clamoring for, are there a couple of minutes for Jalen Clark and for TJ, the two guys you mentioned, because you could see them getting some time. And I really thought the Wolves, the game, the third meeting against the Thunder, they had them at home, and that's when Jalen Clark went down and hit his head on a drive. He got knocked down, hit his head on the floor, kind of got knocked out of that game. He was having a real impactful game, and I thought that game really shifted right there because the Wolves kind of lost some momentum. They were concerned about Jalen, and he didn't come back and play in the rest of that game, and I really thought it cost them that win. Not cost them, that's not the right term, but they lost their momentum there. So Jalen Clark's had an impact. And he's certainly an option. I don't know, though, if Chris Finch is going to vary at least, unless someone to get into foul trouble, I have a hard time thinking he's going to go beyond the 8 players at this point. That they're really dialed into those 8 guys. But that's why TJ and Jalen are available and ready if the situation calls for it. If there's foul difficulty, there's anything else, they can step in at a moment's notice. And I think they can do a really good job. It's funny. I was just saying this last week, PA, at practice, just watching those guys. And I said to someone, I already can't wait for next season because I want to see TJ Shannon play 15 to 20 minutes a night. I don't know if that's too big a number. Same thing with Jalen Clark. I want to see Josh Minot play. Rob Dillingham, we barely saw this season. There's so many young guys on this team that haven't gotten an opportunity. I don't know how they all work their way into the situation next year, but I can't wait to see those guys have an impact on the floor because I think they can make a really big impact.
Maybe this is tough to truly quantify, but who do you think suffers more from early foul trouble? Caruso's going to be a conversation talker with what he did on Jokic and how we can battle against him. You think about frustrating, if you can get Hartenstein with an early 3, you play that game when you're talking your way through this series. But who really suffers more in terms of an early handsy foul on a Jaden? He's trying to frustrate SGA. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would think it's the Wolves and Jaden McDaniels. If Jaden gets himself in foul difficulty guarding SGA, that's a bigger impact than a Caruso, a Kaysen Wallace, a Lou Dort, because they've got so many guys that they can go to. That's 3 guys right there that could all match up against Anthony Edwards in particular, other guys as well. So I think it hurts the Wolves more if one of their key guys gets into foul difficulty.
All right, and lastly here, is there a very, very pertinent and controversial question to close here, Alan? Is there a chance at some point during this series Julius Randle breaks Chet Holmgren in half?
I always love that one.
I think there's probably long odds on it. You could probably get some good return on that bet. But Julius, the way he's playing and the way he's bullying guys around, if he does get matched up against Chet, I mean, bang him right to the rim and out of the picture. And I think Julius can do some damage because the way he's playing right now and the smile on his face, seems like he's just enjoying life right now and having a great postseason. Everything in his life seems to be going in the right direction, and it's paying off because he's having as much fun as I think as at any point in his career, and this is the furthest he's ever gotten in the postseason. If you're trying, I don't know how you stop Julius Randle. I think he's, every series we keep going, I'm like, there's really nobody that can bang away with him. And I don't think OKC, maybe a Lou Dort, who's much smaller than Julius Randle, but pretty stout. I mean, that could be interesting. But as far as the size advantage, Julius has got that, and that's what makes him so unique. He's got that size and he's got that strength that not a lot of guys can bang away with, especially Chet Holmgren, who's more vertical than he is kind of horizontal.
Yeah, I mean, Chet's 7'1", 205, and he's done a really, really good job with that size from Gonzaga through that missing of a season and injuries this year. And when you know more about this than us, he hits threes, he blocks shots, he runs the court like a deer. Ain't no doubt about it. I've never been the biggest Chet Holmgren fan when it comes to 3-point shooting, and I'm not saying just go ahead and lay off him and just let him hoist him up willy-nilly with no hands in the face. But if Holmgren's shooting threes in volume, I think that favors the Timberwolves. What about you?
Yeah, I would say that. Absolutely. There was a lot of kind of the Thunder were a good 3-point shooting team in the NBA. They were right around top 5. In percentage, and they get top 10 in volume. But there's not a lot of guys, I think, when you get to the postseason that scare you from beyond the arc. I mean, Lou Dort had a big fourth quarter in one of the games against Denver, but I think that's sort of an outlier. There are not a lot of guys. Even Shea. I think if Shea is shooting threes, I think somehow that feels like a win because he's not doing damage inside, hitting the mid-range, getting his and ones, herky-jerky motion, drawing fouls, all that kind of stuff. So, if Chet's shooting threes, I think that's a good thing for Minnesota. Although if it's coming with volume, that probably means that he's hit a few and he probably feels confident from there. It's kind of like with Jokic. I just feel like if he's shooting a 3, that's even though he's now a 40% 3-point shooter, I still feel like that's a better value play than him doing damage inside.
You're the best. Call a good one tonight. We'll sync it up with the TV, like many people are doing, as we have learned via the metrics here at KFAN. A lot of people are turning down the TV sound and syncing Alan and Jim, and they'll do the same tonight at 7:30, Game 1, Western Conference Finals. Appreciate you, brother. Have a wonderful day, okay?
PA, Nordo, always great to be on with you guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. See you, bud. That's the Vox, Alan Horton from OKC. All right, cash thing coming up around the corner. After that, our only break from the T-Wolves today is Jensen Lewis, a former pitcher for the then Cleveland Indians. Guardians are in town to take on the Twin Enigmatics. We love J-Lou, and we're going to discuss that around the corner. But first,
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a chance to win some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword check. A Mike check a 1212 might get you some bonus bucks at KFAN.com.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home, and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
The keyword is check.
Yeah.
let's let the Hal hibernate for a little bit and chat with one of our favorites. He is Jensen Lewis at JLou50 via the X Machine at JLou50, analyst and host for VSIN Radio, which, by the way, is in the iHeart family and has some really, really gifted and talented hosts. And J-Lou also is part of MLB Radio. He pitched for the then Cleveland Indians back in the day and was quite good. And the Guardians are in town. And here comes J-Lou. How have you been, my friend? Things well?
And always great to catch up with you. And I still don't know who in the hell is in the weather department that allowed that game to get underway last night. But here we are, a little bonus baseball today.
Right. Well, good luck tonight. I mean, beginning at 5 and change with the final, 5 innings and then 7-10 for the second part. I mean, bro, I think we're going to have 2 consecutive days of nonstop rain. So I think it'll be a long shot. Either of those games are played tonight. Is that your intel?
Yeah, I totally agree. And so much so that I just came back from buying a new lawnmower to make sure that we've got everything cut and ready to go because we're about to get the monsoon here for the next couple of days. So, hey, first to get 5 complete, and whoever's the lead after that, just bang it and go.
Well, in Cleveland, the monsoon has arrived in the form of Shedeur Sanders.
I always love that one.
I mean, is there Shedeur Sanders fever in Seatown, Mr. J-Lou?
So I was here in the Johnny Manziel era, and that was must-see TV just from the circus standpoint. And I believe the same will be present here, PA, for what training camp looks like. Barring something completely unforeseen, this is Joe Flacco's team, at least at the beginning of the year. And then I think they kind of figure out when they come back from overseas, and ironically against your outfit there, you know, if it's not looking good, then potentially they make a switch at that point. But I cannot envision that they don't give Joe Flacco at least the first 4 to 5 weeks to try and get this team into a good spot. But, yep, it's Shedeur Mania is here. Whether that's good or bad or indifferent, we shall see. But I would say that week 8, week 9, if there is going to be a change made, that's probably that timeline of when that could happen.
And it's 10:30 in the morning, Cornfields time, so 11:30 J-Lou time out Cleveland way. I'm looking out the window here at the vast and ever-expanding 9 to noon radio network. It's sideways rain, man. I mean, that's certainly not to say at 5 o'clock tonight it's going to be. Good luck with this whole thing today. Now they're hoping to continue the suspended game from yesterday. Twins lead 2-1 into the bottom of the 4th. Then they're hoping Gavin Williams takes on Chris Paddock around 7:10. Paddock's one of my favorite Twins, by the way. I mean, he's got some bulldog to him. But here's the question for you from back when you played. What did you or players do during long rain delays?
I think for me, it was around college football season. It was any game that was on, and you put it into the TVs or into the players' lounge and, threw that on there. If it was around this time of year, PA, probably a lot of cards, a lot of cribbage, maybe diving into the iPad a little bit if you had some shows to catch up on. For me, I was always kind of that card player with some of the other guys, and usually by then, I can't remember anything beyond maybe two and change for me to have to sit through. Usually, I was a guy that had to kind of be ready 5 there for the restart, and depending on game situation, if we're cleaning up an inning or if we're getting into a part of the order in which would be a leverage spot, I'd still have to kind of stay locked into a certain point and be ready to refire when we were given that time to go. But yeah, you just, you pass the time the way you can, but it was always better, PA, during football season, as you well know, because at least it felt like those delays went a lot quicker.
Did Jensen Lewis, did you ever find yourself perhaps drinking beer and eating fried chicken during games like old school Josh Beckett?
I always loved that one.
Unfortunately, no. I don't know if that would have lowered my road ERA or home ERA, but always one of the tales of me. I do know off the record. I won't name any names, but we did have a contingent that would hit the rally beer if we were down late in the game just to try and change things up. But no names here on this show, but yeah, there have been instances where guys try and shake it up a little bit and get it loose and hopefully get us across the line.
All right, your squad has lost 4 in a row and 6 of the last 8. So just overarching question, Jensen Lewis, what's up with the Guardians?
Yeah, honestly, PA, it begins with the rotation, right? And a lot of the metrics are pretty blatant that this has been a rotation that has not been good all year long, and it doesn't help when your offense can't score night in and night out. And outside of Jose Ramirez, there really hasn't been a lot of resistance. Stephen Kwan overall for the year has been solid, but the last week to 10 days has been a bit of a struggle there. So when it goes bad, PA, it is going really, really bad. So if you get to 3 runs against this squad, it feels like that's enough at this point. And that's pretty daunting knowing, as you said, you got Paddock coming up and then Joe Ryan tomorrow, and then they got to go play Detroit, hottest team in the league. And then, oh, by the way, let's come play the Dodgers when they come back home. So it is no rest for the weary here. But by and large, it's the rotation for me. That has always been the group, at least the last 10 to 15 years. If they're going to be in it, that group has been consistent. And from the end of last year through the beginning of this year, that would be one of the big focal points along with the offense.
Is the American League Central, J. Lou, the best division in baseball?
I still go with the National League West. I really believe that the Giants will have some staying power this year. I think Arizona has yet to really hit their stride. The Padres are for real. We know the Dodgers are, but I think the Dodgers maybe the most vulnerable, PA, they've been because of the amount of rotation injuries and just the unknowns of what they can rely upon turn in and turn out. So while the record might be what it is, I do feel that the Tigers, I had looked at them at about 13-1 beginning of the year to win the American League and felt that with that staff would be pretty good knowing the parity of the American League. I actually recommended on VSiN on our show, By the Books, last week that the Twins at 20-1 before they really got on the length of the 13-game winning streak. That number to win the American League to me was like, whoa, hang on, with that pitching staff, you need a little bit of help there from Buxton and Royce Lewis and Correa, and you guys are right in the fight. So that number I think is down to 10-1, maybe in into single digits. So that to me, those would be the 2 teams I would circle along with Kansas City. I think Kansas City's got to run in them. They offensively need like Jack Cagliano. They need some reinforcements. But I think your squad and Detroit from a pitching standpoint, very legit and definitely can compete.
And I'm with you on the D-backs, man. I mean, they found a way to win last night, despite Mookie Betts hitting 2 home runs and Shohei Ohtani hit 1. So, I mean, if you got those guys hitting 3 home runs, you're supposed to lose. But the D-backs found a way to win, and I'm a Corbin Carroll guy, too. By the way, this is Jensen Lewis at JLou50. He's an Elite Baseball mind, and he analyzes and hosts for a VSIN Radio, VSIN. You can find that on the free iHeartRadio app where we do those talkbacks, which will be next segment. Also does morning stuff with MLB Radio, and I'll catch him every so often in the morning driving into work. The Tigers, is Tariq Skubal the best pitcher in baseball?
Oof. He's right up there, and I think for me overall, I saw what DeGrom and Eovaldi have been doing here, and even Eovaldi overall this year has been as good as advertised. I'm intrigued, PA, to see when we get to the second half of the season, and just knowing the amount of leverage innings he had to pitch down the stretch August, September into October last year, and the start he's on so far. If there's a throwback guy, if there's someone that's built to do it, it's him. And just knowing that Cole Reagan's now within the division, I thought would be a real competitor, if you will, in that Cy Young race. He's got the groin issue now and be down for a little bit. Garrett Crochet, as we know, at Boston. A lot of left-handed backs. Freed there for what the Yankees. I mean, I think Freed's probably flown under the radar the most of anyone in the American League. I'd put it at about a 6-7 horse race right now for best starter in the American League. And, with what Yamamoto's done in the National League side and a couple other guys, we're in a good spot here, PA, for guys that are really throwback types that want the ball, that want to go 7+. But for my money right now, you need me to win a game in a decider. His mantra, his mentality, just kind of pin your ears back and, here's the old number one and 2 middle fingers. I'm telling you, I love watching him pitch, and I just hate it when it's against our team, man. He's as good as it gets.
Yeah, you got Zach Wheeler for the Phillies would fit in there.
Yes.
Chris Sale with his resurgence. So, yeah, you're right, man. The league is good with starters right now. All right, 1 or 2 more here for beloved J. Lou. First, Cleveland. The team batting average is .233. So I guess they didn't need Jimenez or Naylor, right?
I always love that one.
Yeah. Which Naylor went to Arizona? Josh, right?
Josh, yes.
Yeah. I guess they didn't need him.
Not only was that one of the head-scratching moves, and I guess I'll throw it back to you. Like, imagine what Twins fans would do if you trade a Correa that's been unbelievable and was a huge part of why you get to the postseason. I totally understand where Guardians fans are like, well, Naylor disappeared in the playoffs. But, okay, you got back-to-back years of 100-plus runs batted in. You got 25, 30-plus home runs back-to-back years. For the life of me, if you were concerned about, the physical stature and maybe, the durability, I'm willing to gamble on that. I don't know where they had it inside the organization. Like, we'll just replace that with, maybe Kyle Manzardo or something. Like, as well as I do, you got length in the middle of the lineup. That's not an asset you just give up freely. And, hey, Slade Ciccone may end up being great, but I'm sorry, you have to be able to score. And I think that was a bit short-sighted, just knowing the momentum you had going into the American League Championship Series and trying to run it back here in 2025.
Fair. And lastly, big debate on MLB Radio this morning between Jensen Lewis and former general manager Steve Phillips. It was very controversial, too. I don't know why Jay Lou's laughing. So here's the question. Do you dunk your Oreo in milk or not? And what was the verdict?
I said yes, and for Rounders fans out there, I put up a little GIF of KGB on there, when he's sitting at the final table there with Matt Damon. He always, tries to twist it and, take his time there. But, absolutely, man. Why not? Go a little dunk in there and enjoy it. No question about it.
Well, you must like chocolate milk because when you dunk and with my 3 chins, and I haven't felt my ribs in 30 years, I'm an aficionado on this topic. So with Oreos, you dunk them in milk. They fall apart more quickly than most cookies because they're separated and you got the cream center. So therefore, there's so much Oreo that falls in the white milk, it becomes chocolate milk, which ain't bad.
highly scientific. I love the research and the breakdown. That is very pro.
J. Lou, we miss you around here, bud. Enjoy basketball this evening. If you're so inclined, pull for the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. Sorry about your Cavs, and we will catch up soon. Okay.
You got it. Time to howl. Best of luck, guys. I like the over tonight. Take it up a little bit down there, but man alive, boy, it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Man, you got so much talent to you. I absolutely love it. Have a great day, J. Lou.
Likewise. Talk to you soon, PA.
Yep, see you, bud. Jensen Lewis. Jensen Lewis, man, he's got some talent to him, too. 1040 in the neighborhood. The neighborhood is FM 100.3 KFAN. This is your audio leader for everything that is funky, finchy, and fun. And when we return, well, we're going to unfurl the old talkback machine. And we have a Sioux Cup manufacturing prize package that we'll be giving away. Now, the talkbacks, depending on which way the producer wants to go, the talkbacks are not limited today to those just in a tractor, to those part of the Combine Covenant. Yours truly is inviting everybody in because this is a very, very big day, day one of the Western Conference Finals. But regarding the prize package, hopefully everybody understands. The prize package will go to somebody as part of the Talkback Tractor Combine Covenant with silos full of speculation. Free iHeartRadio app, baby microphone, 30 seconds. That's what you do. That's what we do. And just to reapprise you of the prize package, let's go over to the prize desk. Sioux Cup, Nordo, what's in the basket?
Yeah, Sioux Cup Manufacturing is offering up a prize pack each day of this week. I think this is through the end of the month, actually. So you're going to get a Carhartt cooler, a Brume canteen, portable JBL speaker, coffee tumbler, hoodie, and Sioux Cup baseball cap. Bring it on, farmers. Where are you at and what you farming? Now, it's a rainy day, PA. A lot of guys, the tractors have remained in the barn maybe because of the weather. So it might be a hog and cow heavy affair today. I don't know. Yeah. But the Wolves
I've lived that life before.
I always love that one.
Hey, to each their own, man. But anyway.
The Howl talkbacks are always appreciated as well as we continue leading us up to game one tonight. So thank you, Sioux Cup. Thank you, farmers. And with game one tonight.
Here it comes, 7:30 tonight.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
KFAN.
DA Nordo, it's Aaron from Little Canada. The folks down in Oklahoma went to Paycom Center. They went to see SGA, but all they were left with was the tormenting that his cousin Nikhil gave him. I think you're going to need to switch a lot of bodies onto him. Avoid the reach-in, avoid the cheap fouls 40 feet from the basket. Role players knock down some corner threes and let Ant and Julius do their thing. Wolves in 6.
Going with that, we have a Wolves in 6, which actually, right now, at least as my Twitter feed goes, it has been trending on Twitter for at least a day. Wolves in 6.
Okay.
It's trending in the feed right now. It's in the chat.
I wasn't aware of the family affair either. There's a cousin vibe with SGA and Nikhil Alexander Walker.
Yeah.
Then you got the high school cats. You got Brian O'Neill for the purple. You got Dante. Delaware. Two greatest things ever to come out of Delaware.
Okay, make it 3. Joe Flacco, also from Delaware. MVP Red in the Super Bowl.
How could I forget about Joe?
Okay, of course, Flo Jacko. Don't leave home without him. When it comes to SGA and Nikhil Alexander Walker being cousins, does that mean they are blood cousins or friends? And this is my cousin. This is my cuz right here. It's like if I'm out in public with you, as much as I love you and you love me, it would be appropriate, at least where I grew up and in different parts of the country. Maybe it's not so Minnesota-centric to be like my cousin Nordo right there.
Or you've greeted me.
Yeah.
Like, what up, cuz?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Or
I think they are genetic, but but hey, what up, cuz?
Or when we disagree on a subject, and I'll gather my thoughts and sit back and go, "Sucka."
I always love that one.
What's up, huh?
I always love that one.
Why you gotta think like, what's up, huh?
I always love that one.
Hey. We're a little fired up for the game.
I can't wait for this game. Thank you so much for the talkbacks and keep them coming. Free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone up to your best 30 seconds or it will cut you off.
So it's looking like this segment, we can go ahead and run this bad boy up to 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
We'll make the one after this, the Steve's Appliances Marathon segment. And speaking of that, sources tell me you recently made a purchase from Sarah, Brian, and my dear friends at Steve's Appliances.
I did.
And did so under the cover of darkness. So, I mean, like, not calling me when you're going up to Mountain View. Sucker.
I always love that one.
Why are you not calling me, man?
Well, I needed your help. So it was, hey, what up, cuz? Here's the deal. Taking L's at the house. Baby's losing her mind. Oh, and by the way, my dryer just started sounding like someone started a Harley in the freaking mudroom. Mm-hmm. I'm taking L's here. Can you help me out, cuz? And
you can't get mad at your wife for not cleaning the lint filter, and we'll just leave it at that. Because it's been a frequent occurrence during the covenant that you guys have had for many years.
You know
because I've seen the text messages and pictures of the lint filter thing, and man, it's been thicker than shag carpet, and you've had to spend 8 hours on YouTube and in that dryer trying to fix it. But you finally decided to hoist the white flag and call Steve's.
That is correct. So thank you, Steve's. Mrs. Nordquist has given me a few free passes over the course of time. She gets a few free passes these days. So Lint Trap be damned, got a new pair, and it's all thanks to Steve's. Made it super simple. That showed up yesterday. I can actually now look on my phone. Here's the deal. There are a lot of things that we're still waiting for in terms of technological advances. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, you can have an app on your phone because your washer and dryer have Wi-Fi now. So, but big thanks to Steve's. Delivery was awesome, super easy install, and
fast delivery.
We're all set. Oh, super fast.
And absolutely. Free recycling.
Free recycling.
They recycled your L's, right?
Yeah, the old. They did their time, decade plus. But the Electrolux is out, LG's in, and we're feeling good.
And you went up to Steve's Appliances after going to stevesappliances.com, and you said, Sarah, look here. I've worked with Paul Allen ever since this endorsement started, and I've heard him say guaranteed low price at Steve's 8 million times. Well, here's what I got from the appliance store down the road. Can you beat it? And then all you hear was Sarah going, you go ahead and take that little bill they gave you down the road and watch us now. Watch what we can do.
No, they were honestly really, really nice. Had one in mind. She kind of had to help me chase it down. They got a ton of stuff in stock as well. But ultimately it took, 3-4 days, and we're rocking at the house. So laundry duty handled. Thank you, Steve's.
Right on, bro. Let's go. Let's do these talkbacks and grease Souk up a little bit.
What's going on, PA? It's Papa Taco here. Not the traditional farmer, just farming chicken tenders here over at Dave's Hot Chicken. I think Rudy's the X factor in this series. I think he's going to have a minimum of 3 games like he had in Game 5 versus the Lakers. I think the Wolves take it in 6. We win the first 2 in OKC. We split at home and we bring it home. First finals, we're going to do it all. Let's go.
Papa Taco at Dave's Hot Chicken.
Yeah, I got to listen to the front end of this again.
What's going on, PA? It's Papa Taco here. Not the traditional farmer, just farming chicken tenders here over at Dave's Hot Chicken.
Yes! That was brilliant, bro.
Yes!
And in fact, he's the boss, which means when he leaves a talkback, the cock has crowed.
Hey, can I hit you with this as an add-on to that? Mm-hmm. Here's Anthony Edwards talking about Julius Randle and his defense.
He's been able to switch. The main thing that we talked about in film, the first 2 series, is being able to switch and switch up. and attack the ball, and he did that tremendously and deterred the offensive player from trying to get anywhere, and it kept us out of rotation, so it was big time for us.
So I will say this, Julius Randle, maybe, I mean, Ant is Ant, of course, but kind of the X factor, using Papa Taco's verbiage. The idea maybe he was MVP or maybe the most consistent and provided huge moments in that Golden State series. But how often do you really think of his defense as being part of his overall game? I will admit I watch it, and it's kind of the everlasting conversation or evergreen chat with NBA. They play defense when they need to. Mm-hmm. They are all cut out of stone, high-end athletes. When they absolutely need to, they can, the worst player on the NBA court can lock you down at times.
Yeah.
But Randall's defense in particular, how often do you factor that into when you're thinking about Julius's game?
Well, it's excellent that you brought that up, because I heard yesterday from 3 to 6:30, bumper to bumper.
Little puck talk.
I mean, Barrero's just getting after the hockey crowd, after the hockey group, and like, the lovable losers might go to the NBA Finals, and he actually was breaking down the art of slides defensively and what the purpose of them are when it comes to Julius Randle playing defense. And the Minnesota hockey community caught a stray, which was weird.
It's time to drop the puck!
But Julius Randle's defense is a big man who is super athletic, looks like a football player, banging into you, staying in front of you, and jumping straight up when you shoot, as opposed to Julius Randle is never going to be known as somebody who steals it like Tyrese Halliburton or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
He's never going to block it like Stifle Tower, Chet Holmgren, or Walker Kessler. But he's so big and he's so fearless. I mean, we saw this in the first series, man, where LeBron would get up from dust himself off, maybe after being fouled by Julius, and he'd be checking his lip to see if it's bleeding. He would check up by his eyebrow to say, damn, man, you got me with that elbow right there. Is it bleeding? Julius is not afraid of self-proclaimed king. Julius was not afraid of Draymond Green, who, by the way, played his booty off defensively against Julius in that series and still couldn't stop him. So, this Julius's defense, like you said, they all can get down and stop most of them if the chips in the middle of the table are requisite. And in the postseason, that's the case for all of them. They all play super hard defense when the stakes are high enough, and that would include Julius Randle. Now, we'll get to more talkbacks here in a minute, and around the corner, let's meet the adversary. Let's figure out the foe, from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander through Alex Caruso.
You made me track down a Lou Dort highlight. We are using it this show.
Did you find it?
Oh, of course I did.
Well, when I was putting these highlights together, when I got to Lou Dort, writing this out, I'm like, how in the heck does anybody find a Lou Dort highlight unless you go back to 2017 at Arizona State University when he was scoring 25 a game? But 3-2. Randle, defense, doesn't block shots. Lou Dort, completely lost my train of thought.
Around the corner, 11 o'clock. It's SGA. It's Caruso.
That was a non sequitur. Talkbacks, please, so we can give away some Soup Cup prize packages.
Yeah, courtesy of Soup Cup Manufacturing, the Talkbacks.
Good morning, guys. Jake from Shakopee here. I believe there's one key to the Timberwolves winning this series, and the low-hanging fruit, obviously, is the officiating. And while I do believe that if the refs don't fall for OKC's 3 Fs, flailing, flopping, and foul baiting, the Timberwolves are in good shape. But the main key is the turnover battle. Late in Game 7, Denver was down 41 points. Oklahoma City at that time was plus 34 in points off turnovers. If we can hold on to the ball and make them run half-court sets, I like the Wolves in 6. Oh!
That
What in the hell are you doing?
In the game in February where the Wolves were down 24 in the fourth quarter, came storming back, caught OKC, Jaden McDaniels with a massive, massive moment at the end of that game, and then they beat him in overtime. That's the game, and I saw Finch's clip on Twitter yesterday his post-game press conference where, I mean, he's like asked a question. I don't think he answered the question. I think he just started saying, you can't touch Shea. They just don't let you touch Shea. You can't touch Shea. And that was from that game. Now, it's interesting to note that in that game, I think it's interesting to note, Gilgeous-Alexander was 14 of 17 from the line.
Yeah.
And Finchie's like, they don't let you touch Shea. Well, the Wolves made and shot dramatically more free throws in that game than the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, 9 to noon got into this a little bit, into the LeBron-Lucas series, and then I just got so bored with it because it's a waste of space within the brain. Not only if you're talking into a microphone, if you're listening to it right now, if you're thinking about it, if you're a coach or you're a player, because it's mostly, if not completely, out of the control of the people who become obsessed with it. So you've watched enough film and you've played basketball long enough to know, okay, this is not a foul on Shea. This is not a foul on Jalen. This is not a foul on Lou Dort. But they're calling it. Well, then don't do it. Okay? And, but the problem is, and the Wolves are culprits when it comes to this, and it impacts their game. And this, with all due respect, goes back to Finchie too. When they get wrapped up in whatever's happening with the other team involving the officials, it sucks.
Yeah.
And we're not good with that.
And they go on runs.
Yes.
The other team as is.
Right. I've shared this analogy before, but comparison. Not everybody plays well mad, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when somebody pissed him off, he was one of the most unstoppable players in the history of the NBA because he was long and he was strong and he aimed to get it on. And when he got mad at the refs or another player or Robert Parrish or Bill Laimbeer or whatever, lights out, game over. You're never stopping the skyhook. He's respected, so he'll get the call from the refs, and that's just how it works. So I'm not as wrapped up in this as I was into the LeBron-Lucas situation, because the answer is you be the team that puts the officials in a spot to make them make weird calls against OKC. And that means being active, getting to the basket, not reaching in, not swatting when you're trying to block a shot. I mean, you don't have to go to Dikembe Mutombo on it to get that finger wag so you can knock it like 6 rows, into the section behind a bench. All you got to do is block it and let's go the other way. It's discipline, and it should be on display this evening against an Oklahoma City team that starts the likes of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, Lou Dort, and Jay Will, and they bring Alex Caruso off the bench. Let's figure out the foe when 9 to noon continues on KFAN.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home, and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at IPVanish.com/audio.